Hi guys, Lena here, your digital nomad, still in Buenos Aires. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, with all the news that comes out on a daily basis, I think the number one still has to be the new speaker, Mike Johnson. Have to be the most Googled man in the world in the last 3 or 4 days. No one had heard of him. And you fish around, and what do you find? Oh, he's an election denier, misogynist demon, you know, and he proudly passed his first bit of legislation, which hopefully won't get through the Senate. But the first thing he did was a bill that cut 5 billion from the clean green energy proposals for Democrats. Ooh, and he's not stupid. He's not an MTG type. So that's why he's more dangerous, I think. But let's have a look at him. Mike Johnson. What's going on? Well, it's all about money, quelle surprise. You know. So here he is sitting pretty, you know. But here's the thing, for those of you learning tarot, with the Nine of Pentacles, which is someone who has the comforts in life, has an education, has resources, all of that, sometimes the robes can be a bit too big. And sometimes people can overstep their own capacity. I'm just saying. But essentially, sitting pretty. He, underneath the reading, he doesn't seem to come with a lot of baggage, but he is GOP, which means there will be baggage, the Six Swords, that we don't know about yet, that I think will come out. This can also be about those actual certifiable lunatics in the GOP. He might not be right enough, you know. But this is, he's moving to this place of power, but not without a few complications. He is going to have to compromise. And in this sense, I don't think in a good way. I don't think this is compromising with Dems. Wish it were. Happy to be wrong. I think this is compromising with, you know, the vipers in MAGA, because I don't think he's an actual MAGA file. He's worse, right? Because he gets constitutional law and chooses to exploit it. He's just dreadful. So this is selling out his values, pentacles, to the MAGA files. One in particular, I don't know who this is. I don't know them well enough by name, because the ones like Boebert and MTG and stuff, they suck all the oxygen, but there are others who are just as hard line. She has said, speaking of MTG, she won't pass any legislation at all. She won't vote for anything until Jack Smith is defunded. So there you go for the people in her district. She's refusing to work for you. So symbolically, this is what's going on. He's an out and out mercenary. Wouldn't it be refreshing to find someone who had an ethic, you know, a single ethic, just a lonely little ethical part of their brain? No, not in this guy. So I think he'll use the position, plodding forward. But we have to wait and see. I don't know what his position is on Ukraine and Israel and the fine print, but we'll watch. You know, they just have no idea what's going on. So just before I leave Mike Johnson, I saw an article in the Wall Street Journal, and not something I read often. I must have been stuck in a cafe or something. And they said to him, good luck, because it's like herding cats and snakes and peacocks. And I thought, oh, couldn't have put it better myself. So we're going. So, Mark Meadows, since we last spoke, immunity, please. Oh, God, these people. These people. So it is going up the food chain. You know, he was tied at the hip with the Yeti during the fateful moments. So let's hope he spills his guts. I'm not going to read on him yet. And did you see that squirmy, smarmy little, what's her name? Jenna Ellis. Did you see her plead where she was beaming for the cameras? And then the crocodile tears. You know, sorry, Your Honor. You know, I didn't know. I'm a Christian. Well, what does that mean, Pet? I'm a Sagittarius. It doesn't mean I can overthrow the country. What? I want to see those body language experts, you know, as these people start to testify. But, okay, here's the thing too with Sidney Powell. Now, my original question from a viewer today was going to be, is Sidney Powell at risk? You know, because she's turned against the beloved leader. And I will read on that. However, she has since gone on Truth Social and some other, you know, bogus site saying she was bullied. I think she used the word extortion. She was extorted into a plea deal. I want to also know, does that mean her plea deal gets revoked? And if not, why not? You can't, surely. I mean, can't doesn't even exist anymore in the language, doesn't it? They can do whatever they like. But I wouldn't have thought you could take a high-level plea deal and then go on public media and say they made me do it. What's that about? So let's have a look at Sidney Powell. We'll roll the questions into one. Is she at risk? Is she at risk, A, of losing the plea deal, and B, something more Epstein-esque? Sidney Powell. Okay. Yeah, well, she got the sweetheart deal. Look, she's a bit mysterious to me in a way. She's 68. I would have thought she'd be more old guard Republican or something, although I don't know why I'd assume that for a minute, given Giuliani, you know, went to the dark side at an advanced stage. But she's kind of weird. Okay, so this is the plea deal, okay? The Four of Wands. She felt she lost ground with the plea deal, which is why she went out barking to anyone who'd listen. Wasn't really me, you know, maybe. Her problem is she's caught between Biden, meaning the Justice Department, and what's happening generally, not Biden, the man, just symbolically, and the Yeti. She's still holding out a hope that the Yeti will save her. That he'll just, oh, I get it. I think she thinks, yet the Yeti's going to get back in and I'll be pardoned. So course, it makes sense. That's why she's saying this stuff. She's risking a plea deal because she thinks he'll be back in on the throne. Oh, love. She needs a reality check. I think that's what it's about. So if I say these vicious, untrue things, then he'll love me. He's already moved on. I can tell you that much for nothing, Rob. Sydney who? Okay, so that's her. Now, the gag orders, plural. Now, what can these judges do, but what is useless is a $10,000 fine. That's like fining you or me $1.50. I find it's not only pointless, I think it's vaguely insulting to the American people, to be honest with you. It is such a pittance. And I just want to go on the record, I agree with Whoopi Goldberg. He should be fined $10 million every time he opens the scabrous lips. 10 million or he won't feel it. That's me. Okay, now, the only other thing they can do is move trials forward, which is possible in Judge Chutkan's case, but we'll see. Okay, now, Colorado, they have a case potentially to ban Trump from the ballot, as do, I think, quite a few other states, including the first one, which is Minnesota. Let's have a look at Minnesota, because that's on the grounds, I think, of the 14th clause or amendment or whatever it is. If someone takes an oath of office to protect the Constitution and then leads a movement to destabilize the country, call it an insurrection, call it a coup, call it what you like, they cannot hold public office. Now, you know, and I know, regardless of what happens at state level, it'll be taken to the Supreme Court. So if one had a normal Supreme Court, i.e. the greatest intellects in the land who could judge something on its merits, might not be an issue. But this Supreme Court is something different. So let's have a look generically at these cases, starting with Minnesota. Will they be able to keep Trump off the ballot? Will they be able to keep Trump off the ballot? Well, surprisingly, I think this card is the key. Okay, here's what I think this is about. I think they will have a victory at state level or a lesser level. It's still huge for them. But then they get the Nine of Swords, not happy. Here's the compromise. What I think this is about is it would take how long to get to the Supreme Court? It's not going to be heard by the Supreme Court, I would imagine, before the election in 2024. So in other words, it won't be in time. Okay, I think that's what the compromise is. However, it can still stay, in the court pipeline and the sun shines on it eventually. Tarot's not marvelous with timelines. I think this is like 3 years from now, 4 years from now, but hopefully if every sane, decent thinking American either votes Dem or doesn't vote, it'll be a very different landscape for this stuff because the Supreme Court has to change. It's just another dare I say, corrupt backwater now, entertainment purposes only. We've watched it decline in terms of public confidence and everything else. But eventually, this will go on the books. Oh, that's better than nothing. Okay. Now, something else I wanted to talk about here. Let me get my cards the right way up. A few things. Matt Gaetz has burnt his bridges in terms of the behind-the-scene world. Not only did he get booed last week, but that was sort of left over from the speakership row. But Mike Bost, Republican from Illinois, said, if you don't sit down, I'll put you down. So that's hotting up there, the stuff. Now, I know what it was. The Fox News crew. You have Tucker with an F. You have Maria Bartiromo, who's some sort of right-wing alcoholic, absolute woof-woof, barking at the moon. She's been around forever. They have to be worried now that Mark Meadows, the Weeping One, all these defections for plea deals, they have to be worried about Georgia Rico, about Jack Smith, and Sidney Powell still has the Dominion case. But I'm looking at the worst of the Fox News pundits. Now, apparently, viewers alerted me, thanks. Fox is now running a train track arrangement. Their conventional Hannity, let's put lies on air 16 hours a day, tell people what they allegedly want to hear stuff. But they've got a couple of real journalists now. They never had that before. Hello. Who are pushing back on the craziness of the GOP. So let's have a look. Will Tucker and Maria have anything to worry about, particularly as this Dominion case unfolds? Let's see. What's happening over at Fox? Should they be worried? Lachlan. I just heard Lachlan. Now, Lachlan Murdoch, the eldest son of Rupert, another one trying to please daddy, has spent every waking moment of his childhood and his adult life trying to please his father, who barely knows he exists. Okay, do we see a pattern here? Okay. Lachlan, I think, has had legal advice. They've got to be seen to be at least pretending to present news. I think that's what that's about. Ooh, they're worried about their viewers. All right. Yeah, okay. So this is what I think. It's like I was just saying, this is the deal they've made within the higher echelons of the organisation to pretend to be a news service. They can't just keep bringing out the stinky fish, as Hogarth would say. But this also suggests there's going to be some surprise news for them. The Murdochs are ruthless in the extreme. But, okay, I keep saying Dominion. The Dominion case is sort of phase one. It's now Smartmatic, I think, doing the machines. That's the leftover case. I think they're used to this, but it's causing conflict at the station. I think 3 weeks without a speaker tested the average Republican's faith in their own organisation. I think there'll be a new head appointed. I don't think this is Lachlan, and someone who'll charge forward trying to secure their place as such a massively successful network, although it's only a matter of time, and they have an aging audience. I mean, I think they'll become more obscure. Okay, but they do have to worry about the false message. Now, okay, with this, just while I'm organizing the cards, a woman called Misty, I think that's her real name. This is back to the Georgia case, Coffee County. The 15,000 missing emails and texts have now been found by Misty and handed over to Fani Willis in what is going to be an absolute corker of the RICO case. So let's check in on Fani. Fani Willis, how are you going? How are you going? You've got to hand it to these prosecutors, don't you? I mean, I've never been a fan of prosecutors or persecutors, as we used to call them when I was young, getting arrested for demos and things, you know. But they're under enormous personal pressure, you know, whether it's Jack Smith, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg. I wonder what's happening with Alvin Bragg. But anyway, stay on track, Lena. Let's have a look at Fani. Let's have a look at Fani. And then I have one more question for you. Fani Willis. Just a quick look. She's busy. I don't want to distract her. Oh, she's got the sun. Oh, bless. God, these same cards keep turning up. So, she's good. She has this over the lot, okay? Very good. She will experience some loss, which will be irritating to her, even hurtful to her, certainly frustrating for her. But not to worry, because the other cards are full of energy, but there is something there, which we may or may not know about, okay? All right. Let's have a look at the Six of Pentacles again. I think they're related. It's like she can't get someone unless there's a compromise. Maybe it's a plea deal she doesn't want to give. Now I think about it, that's what I'm coming up with. I'm sure she would have had a list. She's working through the list. We'll offer them a deal as we get closer to the Yeti's armpits. Oh, who wants to be near the Yeti's armpits? But yeah. And either someone won't take it or she has to give a plea deal to someone that she really doesn't want to. Maybe that's Mark Meadows. Maybe it's Mark Meadows, where really she would have preferred to charge him with the lot. But she's being sensible and she's going for the apex predator. And off she goes, charging force. She's obviously taking her vitamins, as are the others, to keep on top. Now, the question I started with this when I was talking about Sidney Powell, is she at risk? I want to just finish with, will there be anything serious happening to any of those who flip in any of these cases? Have you seen in the Jack Smith stuff, people are now getting real lawyers as opposed to Trump appointees. And miraculously, every time this happens, they admit they're guilty, right? Because real lawyers tell them that they're in caca over their heads. And the Trump appointed lawyer says, it's okay, not a problem. He'll pardon you. He'll pay your legal bills and then he'll pardon you. Okay. But I want to know if anybody's at risk for testifying against the Getty. Anybody? What's that? Risks for people. Oh, what's on the bottom? The shadow card is the 3 of what? Okay. Now, these people individually, even the laughing and dripping Jenna Ellison stuff, are confronting massive losses. That's financial, but also emotional losses. It's all right for Sidney Powell. She's 68. She can retire on whatever ill-gotten gains she has in her piggy bank, but not everyone can. The King of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles. So this is someone issuing orders. Okay. The Queen of Pentacles here. Financing. These go together. Someone being financed. Look at this. Look at this. So we know Letitia James, Fani Willis, all of them have mega protection and will have to have it for quite some time, if not forever. We know that. But I think these guys, and I don't know if they will get enough protection. I think while the case is playing out, they will have a degree of federally funded or, state funded or some sort of protection. Witnesses have to be protected. I think their risk is after. Ooh. Okay, guys, now I am opening the books again for readings very soon. I'll put my email up under this video. If you're on a phone, I don't think you can see what's under the video. Maybe you can. I don't know. But the email's there on my main site and stuff. So if you want a personal reading or a past life reading, I do 1-hour personal readings and 90-minute general and past life readings. Email me, I'll send you the notes and we'll take it from there. So guys, take care. And I love you this much. Okay? So ciao for now. Still recording? Oh, I'm still here. Hasta luego. Oh, it won't turn off. What's happening? Come on. There we go. Mwah.